The 2023 Super Mario Bros. Movie played it safe, introducing Nintendo's beloved characters and locations in a familiar yet fresh way. No doubt we can expect a sequel down the road, but now that the foundation has been laid, where exactly do we go from here?
You know what they say, all toasters toast toast.
The prospect of a sequel is exciting, as there's a plethora of source material to draw from, but the charm and newness of this first movie will wear off soon. The many references, winks, and nods to the games, they're not going to be as effective the second time around. If Illumination, Universal, and Nintendo play their cards right, this could birth something really special, the fabled NCU. Now, I have no doubt in my mind that whatever they decide to put out there for the second movie isn't going to be financially successful. It's really a question of, is this going to be a Shrek 2 type sequel, or a Wreck-It Ralph 2 type sequel? Will it expand the story, characters, and world that we already know? Or will it just spin its wheels for an hour and 20 minutes and you forget about it the next day? I want to give a quick warning about spoilers ahead. Don't expect any deep Toad lore, but if you're a fan of the franchise and you want to save some of those references for yourself, I suggest go watch the movie first. So while those people are on their way out, let's talk about restraints, because limitation breeds creativity.
Be careful, when you pinch Wendy's pennies, they pinch back.
And this goes for almost all sequels ever of anything, but a sequel is going to be constrained by the foundation set by the first. It's always really off-putting if certain character traits, plot lines aren't followed up or at least acknowledged in a sequel. It comes off as the studio not being confident in its original ideas. Now, this doesn't mean don't drop what doesn't work. For instance, I would love to hear 100% less external licensed music and have a full game-inspired soundtrack in the sequel, although knowing Illumination Entertainment, that likely is not going to happen. So things that were established in the original movie that we should not ignore include the following. 1. Mario and Luigi have a family in Brooklyn. 2. Mario and Luigi still have their own plumbing business and now reside in the Mushroom Kingdom. 3. Peach is not originally from the Mushroom Kingdom. 4. The love triangle of Bowser, Peach, and Mario. 5. The fact that Bowser is currently miniaturized in a cage. And lastly, let's not forget that we get a sneak peek at a Yoshi egg in Brooklyn in a post-credits scene. I'm not saying we need to give each of these items the same amount of attention. Like, I don't really want to see an entire movie about Peach's origins, and in the end you find out that she's from, like, Iowa. I mean, that's the one I'm least concerned with on that list. It's really just to answer the question in the first movie as to, like, why is this human lady the princess to all these mushroom people? And I'm sure they just wanted to put Baby Peach on the screen for 5 seconds, because she's in Mario Kart, you know? So if I were to give the plot of a sequel a rough foundation, keeping the rest of those first movie story points in mind, I'd start with something familiar clashing with something new. The familiar being Mario's family that we already know from the first film, and the new being Wario.
Get ready for some real green. Rated E for everyone.
Maybe Wario is a distant cousin of Mario and Luigi, and he hears of the plumbing business and its success, and he wants a piece of the pie. And he's also voiced by Danny DeVito. Maybe an Always Sunny reunion? Just for the record, I am aware that Nintendo has stated in the game canon that Mario and Wario are not blood related, but I feel it's not too unfaithful of a change to make with the movie to bring the big man in. Mario is aware of Wario's low work ethic and greed, so he turns him down. Wario, angry after being turned down by Mario, makes his way home and, taking a wrong turn, ends up in the Mushroom Kingdom. He notices Peach's castle and attempts to rob the place. Shenanigans ensue, and while attempting to sneak through the castle, Wario ends up freeing Bowser. Bowser manages to contact his lackey Kamek and capture Wario along with DK, who just so happens to be visiting the Mushroom Kingdom looking for a rematch with Mario. This gives us our villain back, who has the leverage in the form of holding one of Mario and Luigi's family members and friends captive, echoing the first movie. This also presents the chance for some DK, Wario, and Bowser interaction, which could lead to some fun character interaction, as well as giving Luigi the chance to have some more screen time with Mario and play the hero this time around, essentially giving him DK's role in the last film. The game canon version of Wario is kind of a slimeball, so it would be fitting to see him work out a deal and cooperate with Bowser, ultimately joining him to get petty revenge on Mario and Luigi. Maybe Wario lies to Bowser and tells him he intentionally freed him? So back at the Mushroom Kingdom, knowing that they'll be facing 2 antagonists this time around, Mario, Peach, Luigi, and Toad look for help. They come across a Yoshi egg which they raise and hatch while constructing a plan to take on Bowser and Wario. Maybe it's Toad who has the knowledge about Yoshi and says, hey Mario, this Yoshi, it can be trained for battle, it can be used as like a mount and make you more powerful, kind of like a power-up. So while Mario's team raises the Yoshi for battle, we see Bowser and Wario overtake the Kong Kingdom. Bowser and Wario advance to the Mushroom Kingdom for the final conquest. By this time, Yoshi has finally matured and been trained for Mario to ride. So this is kind of your pre-finale scene after all the Yoshi training montages. We see, Mario ride up on Yoshi, ready to go. Luigi could act as Mario's angel on the shoulder, saying, hey, Wario deserves forgiveness, while Peach and everyone else viewing him the same as Bowser. Perhaps this creates some kind of inner conflict between Peach and Mario? It would definitely mix things up from last movie, where they seem to have the same intentions on how to deal with the threat of Bowser and his army. In the middle of the big, final Marvel battle conflict, we see the ultimate twist in the narrative. A third power emerges in the form of villains from other Nintendo properties led by Master Hand from the Super Smash Bros. Franchise. Master Hand's army proceeds to decimate Bowser's Armada as well as the Mushroom Kingdom, pressing all other parties to retreat to Brooklyn. The movie ends with Mario and friends making peace with not only Wario but Bowser as well, agreeing to join forces and take on this new threat. Now obviously there's a lot of blanks in the middle of those plot beats, and really when you boil it down, this is just a fanfiction fueled by shower thoughts. But ultimately I think it's a plausible sequel plot that raises the stakes, subverts expectations, and retains character motivations and events in the first movie. Including Wario as a family member gives Mario and Luigi's relationship to their family more nuance compared to their plot relevance in the first movie, which wasn't all that strong to begin with. Mario's dad doesn't approve of him starting his own business until he sees him having external success, which is a pretty bad message for children. Wario was introduced as a villain in the game canon and ultimately becomes an anti-hero, so I think pairing him temporarily with Bowser, who obviously is a staple in the franchise, is a solid idea. Yoshi really is just fan service, and I'm not sure even needs much emphasis other than being a plot device to strengthen Mario. He doesn't even really need to be voiced, likely just treated as like a loyal pet. We did see a quick glimpse of Wild Yoshi in the first movie. They kind of looked like wildlife running, so it might be a little off-putting if we just all of a sudden see one speak, although we literally saw like a few seconds of them in the first movie, so I don't know, but I'm just saying, even as the biggest Yoshi fan, Yoshi is my Mario Party and my Mario Tennis character. I love Yoshi. Even still, I'd rather not see him speaking English. But the casting was so strong in that first movie, prove me wrong. Donkey Kong is a character that I think is going to be the most difficult to work with in terms of naturally fitting him into a sequel plot. I think giving him Luigi's role as a prisoner this time around isn't a bad way to go. Putting him in that role has the potential to get him to truly appreciate Mario, plus it avoids repeating beats from the first movie. The Master Hand plot subversion is definitely a wild card, and something Nintendo could utilize for a Nintendo Cinematic Universe. Depending on how you execute something like that, it might be too much too soon. If the studio wanted to keep the scope smaller, they could introduce another third-party non-Bowser threat like King Boo, the X-Nauts, or the Broodals from Super Mario Odyssey. But come on, you're gonna get the biggest audience reaction if you show Ganondorf and King Dedede riding in on Master Hand for the finale. Obviously, ending in that way is setting up for a third movie, which I think this franchise will definitely make the money for, and ending on that bittersweet note in the fact that, we're getting Wario and Bowser on our side, but we have a larger threat. It's definitely the Star Wars template to end things, where, first movie we introduce everything, second movie the stakes raise and the villains kind of get the upper hand, and third movie everything concludes. I'm definitely following that model, but it's a good model to follow. I'm not here to write a screenplay. I don't have the credentials or the know-how. All I have is a passion for a franchise and medium that I love. I'm really just here to crystallize my shower thoughts into a YouTube video. For all I know, we could see a faithful game-to-cinema conversion of Super Mario Sunshine, which I'm sure some people hope will happen, but personally I do not. So here's to hoping that Nintendo, Universal, Illumination, and others involved take this seriously and not only make a solid path to future movies and content, but a solid sequel movie that can be enjoyed independently. Thank you so much for watching. This has been Shan Mania. Please tip your waitresses, stay safe out there, press all the buttons, and I will see you next time.